Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Tuesday Night Murder Church. Thanks for coming in here on the new regular Tuesday Night Murder Church, doing 2 nights a week now. If you have not, please hit the like and give this a share over on the old X machine, over on Twitter. I just posted the link over there. Help me out. Appreciate it, guys. Coming through right now.
Let's rock.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome in here to Murder Church on a Tuesday night. I got a brewski. I don't have a sleeve to put it in, but I got a brewski. We're about to continue this Phil Spector trial. Picking up where we left off on Sunday. Stephanie Jennings part 2 as she continues into her now being cross examination. Thanks for being in here, everybody. Appreciate it. Let me see who's hanging out here tonight. Please, as you come through the door of the church, ring the bell, hit the thumb, hit the old thumbski. And if you're new here and you haven't, I never say this, and you're subscribed and you click on the subscription button, I think either it's on that or an arrow. If you hit and click the bell and make sure you get all notifications, that will help you out when... Just saying, it might help you out. YouTube is notoriously terrible at sending those out, but it could maybe get you a notification when I go live. But thanks for coming in here. Let's look at the chat real quick. What's going on, guys? Oh, is there echo? What's going on here? Got a crazy echo? Is anybody else here an echo? Just want to see what's going on here. I see Miss Wildside. What's going on, Wildside? Okay, all right. Freaked me out there. I was like, oh no, Brooklyn's in here. Kai's in here. Dizzy's in here. Afton's coming through. Laura, baby. Pammy. Bo Pete. Oh God, you scared me. You scared me, Wildside. I was like, oh God, no. Oasis coming through the door. Tiff coming through the door. RX Girl coming through the door. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in here. I saw that STS, Surviving the Survivor, had a full house. They had a big show going on tonight. Kelly Belly coming through also. Really appreciate everyone that's Murder Church alumni coming through. I love it. And Shiraz through the door. What's up, baby? And I need to start this bad boy off first and foremost with some bells before I forget. Because I randomly will forget the bells. And that's you can't, not on Murder Church. Huh? I don't think so. So let's just start those off right now. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it. It's nighttime church. Grab a cold one. Grab a probably nothing. Maybe a little something. Huh? Maybe a little something. I won't tell. No one has to know. CH coming through also. Welcome in, guys. Just kind of chilling out here just for a second. See how many people come through the door. Yeah, let's start her up, though. We're going to go into this. This first video is an hour long. And then we'll see what else we can get through here tonight. I'm planning on going to about 10, so we'll see how that feels with the videos and how they play out. So, yeah. And I think I hear something in the background. It's like maybe some people are subbing up. Yeah, if you're new in here, yeah, appreciate it. Get your sub on. All right, let's rock and roll. Make sure I got the sound right first of all. Judge Diehard, Judge Bruce Willis, ready to go. And I think I've got a...
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Let's go, baby. He's not fucking around today. That's what he's not doing.
Cross-examination. All right. Good morning. What is your preference? I address you as Miss, Mrs., or Ms.?
Doesn't matter.
Well, give me some direction here, okay? Because we're going to be together for a while.
How about Stephanie?
I can't. No, that I can't do. That's the made the one choice that's not allowed. We can't do it on a first name basis. Once we get outside the courtroom, yes, but in here I have to address you formally.
Miss is fine.
Miss.
This guy can be a prick.
One thing also I would just caution you about, it's very much people's habits to go and and
he's already being a
it's
dick.
a nightmare for our reporters, Diana and Cindy. So if you would, if the question is,
Yo, Kelly Bobelli coming through with the share on on Twitter. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Also, Dizzy coming through with one. Thank you guys so much. Really spreading the word, baby. Spreading the word.
yes or no, you have to sort of say yes or no. It really helps us with the record, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Ms. Jennings, good morning.
And don't forget, if anybody that is new here or wasn't here on Sunday, we have a constant live feed. I know you see him right there, Phil Spector, but we have a wrong one. We have a close-up, a live shot of a ghoul Phil Spector, wig and all, at all times, and that creepy-ass stare that he has.
I want to start my examination this morning with talking to you about this incident that you alleged here occurred at the Carlisle Hotel, okay? And as I understand it, that was back in January of 1995, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, I want to get right to the point where you indicated you were in your room, you had finished the evening's activities, and you were asleep, correct?
Correct.
And while you were sleeping, all of a sudden there was a knock at the door, correct?
Correct.
And you got out of bed and you went to the door, and it wasn't Mr. Spector at the door, but one of his bodyguards, correct?
Yes.
And you were aware of why he had bodyguards at that time, weren't you?
He did that shit on purpose. Believe it.
Well, let me ask you this. You'd learned that he had
I bet
been
this
beat up
gets
in a
spicy.
hotel room and that he had...
No.
It is irrelevant. The objection is sustained.
Okay. At any rate, you had a knock at the door. This gentleman requested of your presence down at Mr. Spector's room in another part of the hotel, but on the same floor, correct?
Correct.
I want to make sure. You had your room, he had his room, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And as I understand it, you shoot him away, you sent him on his way because you were sleeping, and you told him, I'm asleep, it's late, and no thank you, right?
Correct.
Okay. There was nothing occurred between you and the bodyguard that was out of line. He left, right?
Right.
He didn't try to force his way into the room, did he?
No.
And he certainly didn't get physical with you in any way?
No.
He didn't grab you and drag you down the hallway in your night clothes?
No.
All right. You said, I think, in your testimony that about 5 minutes passed, and you heard another knock on the same door, correct?
Correct.
And you got out of bed again, I assume, and went to that door?
Yes.
And you opened the door?
Yes.
And when you opened the door, Philip was there, correct?
Yes.
Not the bodyguard,
Right.
just Philip. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you invited Philip into the room, correct?
I don't believe I invited him into the room.
Okay. At any rate, you and Philip wound up in the room. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And I think as I heard you correctly,
Glasses don't help. The creep
he
factor,
invited
bro.
you to come to his room, the room that was down the hall somewhere, right?
Yes.
And you basically took the position, look, Philip, it's late, I'm tired, I've been to the music awards, I took a lot of pictures, I just want to go to sleep. Something along those lines, right?
Well, I was sleeping.
Correct. And when you told him that, he took the position that he still wanted you to come down to his room. There were people there, music going on. He wanted you to, for lack of a better term, join the party, correct?
I don't know if it was join the party or just join him. I took it to just join him.
Okay, but you don't know because you don't know who was in the room or who wasn't when he made the request inviting you down to the room, right?
Right.
Okay. And then, as I understand it, after he asked you to come to his room, which was the way you described it, you were emphatic about it and you said no, correct?
Correct.
And then, as I understand it, Mr. Spector had a discussion with you about paying for the room, the fact that he had paid for the room.
Yes.
And he wanted you to return to his room with him, right? Isn't that what happened next?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that Mr. Spector was loud, right?
Yes.
He was angry, correct?
Yes.
He was talking to you in a heated voice, correct?
Yes.
And you were getting a bit concerned.
You can
about
already
that,
feel
right?
this dude's going to
Right.
do, sure.
Okay. And as
can
I
feel the
understand
energy,
it, there was
son.
some colloquy between you and Mr.
Yo,
Spector.
Chris
and
Stewart's
ultimately
in the
it wound
house.
up-
What's up, dude? What's happening, brother? He doesn't look like a real person, bro. Look at this. We got a live feed on this son of a bitch at all times, brother. Just keep an eye on this guy. All right, those creepy ass eyes. Got the wig and all. Live feed on Ghoul Phil Spector at all times.
With Mr. Spector directing you to pack your bags and leave, right?
He didn't direct me to pack my bags and leave.
Pack one up,
I had
dude.
already
Hang
been
for a bit.
packing my bags.
All right.
I was going to leave.
Okay, but there was a conversation between you and him about leaving and your baggage as well as paying for the room, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you indicated to him that you were not going to leave your bags up there, right?
Correct.
As I understand it, you said some of the things he was saying to you were not nice things. He was calling you names, and you became upset and you started to cry, correct?
Correct.
You were getting concerned, right?
Yes.
You started to become scared, right?
Correct.
As I understand it at that point, things changed geographically and you moved from wherever you were in the room itself into the bathroom area in the room, right?
That was the room I hadn't packed yet.
Correct. You wanted to collect your toiletries, pack them up so you'd have everything. You didn't want to leave them and leave the room, right?
Right.
Okay. And as I understand it, Philip followed you into the bathroom and he was talking at that time to you and you were talking to him, right?
I wouldn't call it talking.
All right, yelling, screaming, angry words.
Yes.
And when you got into the bathroom area, as I understand it, things really escalated, correct?
Yes.
You indicated he put his hands on you, right? You don't remember exactly what, but you are clear he put his hands on you, correct?
Yes.
And you are also clear that in response to him putting his hands on you, you shoved him, right?
Yes.
And you shoved him with such force that he wound up falling backwards into the tub, correct?
Yes.
And down came the curtains, right?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, at that time, I'm sure it's the same answer. How tall were you?
5 foot,
Okay, and what did you weigh?
100 pounds.
Okay. About the same as today, yes?
A little heavier
Close.
today.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask much more, or you'll get angry at me. Okay. So you push him, he falls into the tub, the curtains
What
come
would have
up.
been just an average normal joke sounded actually devious from him. He doesn't even know how to handle like real conversations. Like he hit that line so strangely. Was it just me?
Crashing down, and his response is he gets up and he leaves, right?
Yes.
Doesn't smack you.
Trying to
doesn't-
relate.
At that point when he got out of the tub, he leaves, right?
Yes.
Doesn't hit you, doesn't put his hands on you, he leaves, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now at that point, as I was listening to your testimony on direct by Mr. Jackson, I took it that you were
Oh shit, my bad.
starting to get pretty fearful. Is that true?
Yes.
Mr. Spector left the room. You finished packing. Mr. Spector returns to the room, correct?
Yes.
And this time you are alleging that he had a handgun with him, right?
Yes.
And as I understand it, you said he took a chair, he put it somewhere in front of the door area of the room and sat in the chair, right?
Directly in front of the door.
Okay. So obviously he was in front of the door, he was sitting there, and you said he had a gun, right?
Yes.
And you testified on direct. You weren't positive what kind of gun it was, but you were positive that he pointed the gun at you, correct?
Yes.
And you're absolutely sure of that, as you sit here today, that he pointed that gun at you, aren't you?
Yes.
And you indicated you didn't know what was going to happen. And you said that you thought, because he was pointing this gun at you, that you were going to get shot. That was your testimony, right?
That's one thing that could have happened.
Okay, but that's what you testified to, correct? Mm-hmm. You said,
Yes.
I didn't know what was going to happen, but I thought I was going to get shot. That's what you said here a few moments ago, right?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson asked you the question,
What's up,
ma'am,
Tony?
of whether
Get
or
in
not
here.
you had ever been talked to by law enforcement, remember? He asked you that question this morning,
Yes.
and you said yes, correct?
Yes.
You spoke with Investigator Tomlin, is that right?
Yes.
And as I understand it, Investigator Tomlin was accompanied also by Investigator Paul Fournier, is that right?
I believe so.
And this conversation took place in about January, sometime in January of '04, specifically January 5th of '04, is that right?
I don't know the exact date.
All right, and you were with Mr. Resnick, Mr. Bernie Resnick, and let me, hold on, sorry, I just want to spell it for our reporter. It's BERNIE RESNICK.
Yes.
And Mr. Resnick was serving in the capacity as your lawyer at that time, right?
Yes, he is my lawyer.
Okay. Now, you remember Mr. Fournier and Mr. Tomlin told you that they wanted to speak to you about what you knew about Phil Spector, and in particular, any incidents that occurred at the Carlisle Hotel, right?
Yes.
And they told you that they wanted you to be truthful with them, right?
Yes.
That's all they wanted you to do, just wanted you to be truthful, correct?
Correct.
And they wanted you to tell the whole story, the complete story, not leave anything out, right?
Correct.
And they told you in doing that, that they wanted you to be forthright with them. That's correct, isn't it?
Of course.
And you spoke with them, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And you spoke with them for a period of time. It was, what, several hours, wasn't it?
I don't recall how long.
Where were you when you spoke with them? You were in Philadelphia, correct?
In my lawyer's office.
I'm sorry.
In my lawyer's office in Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania. They came out to you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you knew they were coming. This had been prearranged, right?
Yes.
And you knew it was to talk to you about Phil Spector and the Carlisle incident.
Yes.
And you also knew, before they came out, that there was a possibility this was going to be tape recorded and transcribed, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, when you went through the interview with them, it was tape recorded, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was transcribed, wasn't it?
I never saw the transcription.
Okay. But you know that one exists.
I don't even know if it exists.
All right. Do you recall, you're on reference for the government. Go to Do you recall the following questions and the questions by Officer Fournier, Investigator Fournier, and you providing the following answers to those questions, okay? And I'm going to read it to you. And for the record, Your Honor, this is page 31 of the transcript of January 5th of '04. Question by Mr. Fournier. Okay, this particular evening, he doesn't want you to leave. He's sitting in front of your door at the hotel. He took this gun
Creepy
out.
bastard alert.
Now, where is he pointing the gun? Jennings. He did. He had it like he's sitting there with Fournier. So cross-armed? Jennings. Yeah. Fournier. In front of the door and he has it in his hand? Jennings. Yeah. Fournier.
Thought I'd give you two different angles of that son
And
of a
he's
bitch.
not pointing it in any particular
Straight ahead
direction.
shot and that side shot.
Jennings. No. Fournier, what is he saying to you? Jennings, that, you know, I had to leave my bags there. I was going anywhere. Miss Jennings, you certainly recall providing those answers to those questions when you were interviewed in January of '04 in the presence of your lawyer, don't you? Yes,
Carrie,
sir.
welcome in here.
No, I don't recall exactly.
May I
what
approach,
it
Your
was.
Honor?
Well, I don't know that showing her is going to refresh your recollection.
If I showed you the transcript, and please accept that this is a correct transcript of the taped interview. If I showed it to you with the questions and answers that I just read, might it refresh your memory as to the answers you provided to the questions by Detective Fournier at that time?
I believe what's written, I believe that's the transcript.
I understand that, but we have certain procedures we have to go through here. I'm asking you this. I know you're not quarreling with the accuracy
Like
of the
that the judge is
transcript.
like,
I'm asking you
dude,
this, if
fuck
I
off.
gave you this transcript for you to read, would it refresh your memory as to the
Judge
answers that
Diehard
you
does not
provided
fuck
to those
around.
officers? If it would, it would. If it won't, it won't.
It possibly could. Everything's been such a long period of time
May I
between all
approach
of this.
You may approach.
Thank you.
Try to help her
Let me
out.
explain what I'm going to do. I'm going to hand you
She's
the
too
transcript.
nicey.
okay?
Even then, she was like,
You just to read it to yourself. I'll point to the area, okay? You're not to read it out loud. When you finish reading it, you let me know, and then I'll have some questions for you, okay? And for the record, on page 31, starting at line 11, and you'll conclude your reading up here at line 2, okay? You just read it to yourself, please. Thank you. Have you completed reading it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Having now read the transcript of your taped interview in January of '04, Ms. Jennings, does that refresh your memory that you provided those answers to those questions?
Those are the answers I provided at that time.
Thank you very much. Counsel, turning to page 69, please, lines 4 through 12. I'm going to read you further in the transcript, okay? And I'll ask you whether or not you recall providing the following answers to the following questions in the same interview in Mr. Resnick's office in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 2004, okay? Excuse me, this is by Mr. Tomlin, his partner, starting at line 4. Tomlin, okay, so now he's in front of the door. He's got the gun. He's now waving it. Is he waving it? Jennings, no. Tomlin, he's just got it. Jennings, he's sitting there. Tomlin, he's sitting there. Jennings, yeah. Tomlin, with it like cross in his arms. Jennings, yeah. Tomlin, and you're not going anywhere. Jennings, right. You recall providing those answers to those questions later on in that same interview?
Yes.
Your Honor, with one exception, if Mr. Rosen would please quote the internal quotations, I think it gives it context. It didn't sound like he did.
All right. That's fine.
It's just line 14.
Line 14, Tomlin, and quote, you're not going anywhere, close quote, question mark.
All right.
Okay. So in this interview, which was, as I understand it, your very first interview, face-to-face with law enforcement in regards to this incident, you did not tell them that Philip Spector pointed the gun at you. Isn't that correct? Isn't that what that says? Just yes or no, ma'am?
That's what the transcript says.
Okay. Now,
yo, Gail,
point that the
I'm
gun
sneaking
comes
in here.
out.
What's up?
your fear level really went up, didn't it?
Yes.
You're really concerned for your life, aren't you? You're concerned for
Get
your
that
safety,
sauce,
correct?
Tiff.
That's why I called 911.
That's what I do too. You got to
Correct.
make your sauce.
And
Put some love
I
in
think
that
you
sauce.
indicated you got 911 and you spoke with a very nice female voice who assisted you. Is that correct?
Correct.
During that time, you were scared, correct?
Yes.
You were extremely fearful, correct?
Yes.
This was way beyond being threatened. You were in fear of your life, correct? That's
Yes.
a fair statement. Okay. You were shocked by this question.
Yes.
And in addition to being shocked by this, as I understand it, it would be an understatement, a total understatement to say that this bothered you, correct? It was much more than that, right?
Yes.
Court's indulgence for a moment, please.
All right.
So I can orient Mr. Jackson. Ms. Jennings, again, I'm going to read to you from the transcript of the tape recording of the interview with you and Detectives Fournier and Tomlin in January of '04 at your lawyer's office in Philadelphia. Please pay attention, if you would, ma'am, and let me ask you whether or not you provided the following answers to the following questions. starting at line 3. Fournier. Okay. Well, we'll now go back. So this particular incident, now again, you have to tell us. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I mean, did you look at it like I mean, you continued to date him at that time, correct, Jennings? Mm-hmm. Fournier. So I mean, how did you didn't view that incident that you felt threatened, Jennings? No, not exactly. I mean, at the time, I mean, I was into shooting a lot. I was around these people a lot. So, Resnick, are you shooting guns or are you shooting photographs? Jennings, photographs. Thanks for clarifying that. Resnick, you're welcome. Jennings, Resnick, they don't pay me the big money for nothing. Fournier, I'd figured that as much, but yeah, good clarification. Jennings, this was just kind of, I guess I would say, his normal lifestyle. So like being around guns and alcohol and everything, Fournier, okay. Jennings, so, Fournier, the shock factor wasn't there for you. Jennings, right. Fournier, because you had been around people that acted. Jennings, yeah. And for one thing, my grandfather, I mean, I grew up with guns, My grandfather had one in every cupboard in the house. Fournier, oh really? Jennings, behind every door. Fournier, okay. Jennings, so it didn't, like the whole thing just didn't. Fournier did, Jennings, bother me. Fournier, did you ever talk with Phil about this incident after it occurred? Jennings, no. Miss Jennings, do you remember providing those answers to those questions at your tape interview with those two detectives on January 5th, 2004 at your lawyer's office in Philadelphia?
I don't remember the exact conversation, but that's obviously what it was.
Miss Jennings, I prefaced my questioning in this area with the question to you that the officers told you to tell the truth, and you said yes, correct?
Correct.
And they told you to tell the truth before you started the interview, correct?
Correct.
And they told you to be truthful throughout the entire interview, correct?
Correct.
Miss Jennings, you have never, ever seen Phil Spector take a gun out
Hilarious.
himself
Spector and Bodden just changed hairs real quick, just swapped wigs.
and display it in a threatening manner to anyone else. Isn't that correct?
Take it out? No.
You've never seen him pull a gun on anybody else, have you?
Not pulling out.
As a matter of fact, I want to direct your attention to another area of questioning by Investigator Fournier on this same
Creepy every
subject
time.
regarding your fear at the Carlisle Hotel. Moment, please. You remember providing the following answers to the following questions. Jennings, I don't know exactly. To say I never thought, I never, parens, someone sneezes, close parens. Tomlin, bless you. Jennings, what? I never really thought that he was there going to use it to kill me. Fournier, okay. Jennings, I mean, I never thought he would purposely use it to kill anyone. It was just, I mean, he had a lot of things with the lifts in his shoes, from his hair pieces to, the gun being, part of it. That was
Lifts
just
and
part of
shoes
it.
as well.
I guess trying to
It's
make
actually
himself look
3'5".
seem like a bigger man. Miss Jennings, do you recall providing those answers to Mr. Tomlin's questions, to Investigator Tomlin's questions in your lawyer's office in January of '04?
I don't recall, but that is along the lines of what I think.
May I approach you? Well, let me ask, if I showed it to you, might it refresh your memory?
Well, like I said, I'm assuming it is on there.
It is on here, but might it refresh your memory?
Well, there's no
Dude.
need to approach it. She doesn't disagree.
She's
Are
even
you
saying
agreeing
it's-
that if it
it's
appears
what
in
I
the
think.
transcript that that's what you
He's
said?
like, I want to make
So,
sure
she's
every
right.
little detail is. All right, we get it. She's admitting it. I really don't like this guy. He's a little prick. She had a car accident, Jay
told
Money.
me,
Yeah, everyone
and
was
you told
asking at the
Mr.
beginning of the
Jackson,
last one.
there
This
was
is
no
the-
question.
She was at the
You
end
felt
of Murder
threatened
Church
and you were fearful.
Sunday.
Correct?
Yeah, she had a bad
That's why
car
I called
accident.
911.
Once again, ma'am, I would like to take the opportunity to read you from the transcript. Okay?
Sure.
I just want to give Mr. Jackson a moment to get it.
Jesus.
Okay.
He's ready.
Would you please listen to the following questions and answers? Question,
Sure.
Fournier. Okay, well, we'll now go back. So this particular incident, now again, you have to tell us. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I mean, did you look at it like it? I mean, you continue to date him at this time, correct? Mm-hmm. Fournier. So I mean, how did you didn't view that incident that you felt threatened? Jennings, no, not exactly. And then, I think we've done that, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Rosen, we've already,
I'm sorry, we have already done it, that's correct. Let's talk for a moment about the fact that the police arrive at your room, okay? When they arrived at your room, as I understand it, they had the general manager with them,
I believe so.
and there were a number of New York Police Department officers, correct?
Yes.
It wasn't just one.
No.
And as I understand it, when they came into your room, you spoke to them, correct?
Yes.
How long, Miss Jennings, did you speak to them for? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
I couldn't tell you.
Long enough to tell them what had happened before Mr. Spector left the room, correct?
Yes.
And you told him that Mr. Spector had a weapon,
Yeah, I would much
correct?
rather hear the
Yes.
You
recording.
told him he had a handgun, correct?
Yes.
It's seriously
Do you
noisy.
know as you sit there today whether or not they went down to Mr. Spector's room and arrested him for having a handgun?
objection calls for speculation.
Unless you personally know that, are you able to answer that?
No.
All right.
No, I do.
The objection is?
Let me ask you this. Are you familiar with something called the Sullivan Act in New York?
Objection, relevant.
Sustained.
I'm just asking if she's familiar
It's
with it.
irrelevant. Sustained.
Judge Dahord runs a tight ship.
Now, as I understand it, you indicated that after the incident at the hotel, you did not press charges, correct?
Correct.
You didn't sue Mr. Spector, correct?
Correct.
You never went to criminal courts in New York and testified, right?
Pussy puff in
No.
the heave.
And
in here.
all I think
Get
you said
the
you wanted
hell
to do
in
was to
here.
just get out of there, referring to the hotel room, right?
Yes.
You then testified that you were invited to the same event next year by Phil Spector, is that right?
Yes.
And you agreed that you would go as long as he provided that you had your own room.
It was
Correct.
basically under the condition I wouldn't be seeing him.
That you'd have your own room,
I'd
correct?
have my own room.
I just asked you whether or not one of the conditions were that you'd have your own room.
Yes.
And he agreed to that, correct?
He
Is that right?
suggested it.
Okay. And he paid for that, right?
I'm assuming.
And he paid for your fare up and back for to and from New York, correct?
Yes.
Also, as I understand it, he was very gracious with you. He sent you wine, he gave you money at times, he provided you limousine services, took you to dinners,
Shannon Hales.
many
Holly
nice
Berry
things,
coming
right?
through.
Yes.
Get in here, guys.
And that was on an ongoing basis, correct?
Yes.
Now, you testified that
I'm at the room
after
upstairs and
that
get another brewski.
time, and that would have been in '95, you no longer had any romantic relationship with him, is that correct? That's what you testified to. You said that this morning, right? When Mr. Jackson was asking you questions.
He gets so sassy. He gets so funny. She's not even said anything. She's not even really fought him back. She's not really saying anything yet to this question. By the end of the question, he's just, isn't that right? Isn't that right?
After this, I no longer had a romantic relationship with Phil, correct?
Got his nuts in a vice at all times.
I'm not sure of all the dates.
No, that's not what I asked you. What I asked?
All right, I'm gonna get a beer.
Well, I'm gonna fight this man. I'll allow the question. You may proceed.
Thank you. My question was, did you here today on the witness stand, in answer to Mr. Jackson's question, tell him that after that 2005 event, I'm sorry, excuse me one moment. I misspoke, 1995 event, you and Mr. Spector no longer had a romantic relationship. That's what you testified to, correct?
Correct.
Very bad.
Again, I want to reference you to your first interview with Mr. Tomlin and with Mr. Fournier, the two case agents, the two investigators in this case. And I want to read to you from a portion of that investigation from the transcript and tell me whether or not you recall providing the following answers to the following questions. Tomlin, so how long would you say you were romantically involved with him, if you will? Jennings, I mean Tomlin. From 94 to 96, what? I mean Jennings. Yeah, from the time you know, first time I stayed with him at the Carlisle till you know the last time. Did you provide the answer yeah to the question from 94 to 96? If you want to, I'll show it to you.
Obviously, that's what I said.
Okay, that's all I'm asking you. Let's talk about the sale of your photos. I think you indicated there came a time where you met with a gentleman from the National Enquirer. Is that correct?
A writer.
Okay, a writer from the National Enquirer. Somebody who writes stories for the National Enquirer, correct?
Yes.
And you met with him because he wanted to talk to you about what you knew about Mr. Spector and for you to provide photos. But actually, you were under the impression that you were just going to provide photos, correct?
Basically.
And you testified in the grand jury in this case, didn't you?
Yes.
And you testified before the grand jury on September 8th of 2004, isn't that right? And I'll tell you, I'm not trying to prod the ball. I've got your transcript, okay?
Right.
All right. And you were asked that question by Mr. Doug Sortino, who was the deputy district attorney then assigned to the case before Mr. Jackson came on board, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Sortino asked you about that, didn't he? He asked you about the subject matter regarding the sale of your photos to the National Enquirer, correct?
Correct.
And I think in discussing that with Mr. Sortino, you indicated to him that you did not believe that you were going to be the focus or subject of an article, just that your photos would be bought and used for an article about Phil Spector, correct? That's what you testified to before the grand jury, am I correct?
Correct.
You signed a contract with the National Enquirer, didn't you?
Yes.
And in signing that contract, you affixed your own signature and dated it to the end of that 3-page contract, didn't you?
Yes.
And of course, you read it before you signed it, didn't you?
Probably.
Okay.
It was before I got my lawyer involved, because it was at the very beginning.
I didn't ask you about your lawyer. I asked you whether or not you signed this contract.
I
and you
signed
said
it.
yes. And you said you read it before you signed it,
I
correct?
might not have read it completely.
You got paid $1,000, correct? Not $1,200.
Whatever it says on the contract then.
You testified today, this morning, that you got paid $1,200.
I thought it was around 1,200.
Okay. Your Honor, might we have the contract on the board?
All right. Do you want this marked as an exhibit?
Yes, we do, Your Honor. Please.
Your next is
Defendants.
I.
Aye, please.
All right.
Can we make that J?
Sure.
I will be the transcript that goes with H.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
So we're on J. Marking defendants J, Your Honor, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Sit down, the first thing I see is,
what's been projected up on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, can you read it okay? Can you read it okay?
I hate this dick.
Do we need
A little bigger.
Jen, could you help us a little bit, make it a little bit larger so
What's
Ms. Jennings
going
has an opportunity to read that? Okay. First of all, let's go to the top. It says Inquirer, National Inquirer, correct? Correct?
Yes.
And in the middle of the page, Jen, can you drop the overlay down? Thank you. It says the word agreement, correct? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Could you blow up, please, number 1? Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, that reads 1. You agree to provide the Inquirer with a full, complete, and accurate interview regarding your personal knowledge of who?
Of Phil Spector.
This gentleman seated right here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's no mention of the word
Correct.
photo or the word photographs in that paragraph, is there?
Weasel.
No.
When you read that, what did you think it meant when it said, you agree to provide full, complete, and accurate interview regarding your personal knowledge of Phil Spector? You took that to mean
What's up, Shannon?
that if they asked you questions about Phil Spector, you were going to tell them whatever it was you could in answering the questions, as well as volunteer any information, correct? Isn't that what that meant to you?
No, it isn't.
Okay, well, did
100%.
look at that language. Does that language indicate to you that what it means is you're going to be providing photographs only? It does not, does it?
I did not see this until after the writer and I had already spoken.
Ms. Jennings, that wasn't my question.
Check on
My
Phil.
question is simply this.
Close up of Phil.
Take a look
Yep,
at the
still
language
there,
of
looking like a
paragraph
creep.
1. Does that language suggest to you that the only thing you're going to be doing is providing photographs? The answer is no, isn't it?
No.
Let's take a look, if we could, please, at number 3. Could you blow that up? In 3, it says, you agree to provide the Inquirer with any pertinent documents and photographs relating to the information provided in interviews with you. You see the last 4 words, in interviews with you?
Yes, I can see the words.
At that time, did you not take the word interview to mean question and answer? Obtain information from you? You did, didn't you? Isn't that what it meant to you?
The writer and I it was an informal conversation. It wasn't an interview, in my opinion.
I understand. What did the word interview mean to you when you put your John Hancock on this agreement? What did it mean to you?
Obviously, I didn't read it thoroughly.
Let's take a look at 6. No, excuse me. Let's go to 7. Please, can you blow that up, Jen, if you would?
Sorry about that. Good call, Tiff. Fix that sound real quick. Buzzing seeping into all of our lives.
Thank you. Would you take a look at 7? Do you see the words in 7? Interview, information, documents, photographs? You see that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What did that mean to you when you saw the words interview, information, documents?
It meant what the writer and I had talked about and the photos that I had shown him.
Okay, let's take a look at number 9. This is just to refresh your memory. I realize you testified here today that it was $1,200. Now that you see that, you realize it's incorrect. It is wrong. It is not $1,200. You only got $1,000. Correct?
I can see that.
Do you agree with that? It's right there in the agreement, correct?
Yes.
All right. And now let's take a look at paragraph 12.
Anytime you hear it,
Would you
just holler.
please take a look at that?
Sometimes
It
I
reads,
don't.
12.
Sometimes I don't hear
You
it.
agree that you will provide the Inquirer with
part
an
of me
exclusive interview.
Slowly taking over my brainwaves.
You agree that for a period of 3 months, you will not provide any other reporter or news media the same or similar interview, information, documents, or photographs contemplated in this agreement without the Inquirer's written permission. See that?
Yes.
That's in your agreement that you signed with him, correct?
Yes.
And finally, let's take a look at paragraph 14 on the next page, please, Jan, if you would. Could you kindly assist us and blow it out? Thank you so much.
Oh,
14.
we can't see this stuff.
You agree and acknowledge that nothing in this agreement
That is it.
bars the Inquirer from publishing any article about Phil Spector or others
Yeah, I think it's just in my
that
head.
relies on information and documents other than that provided by
walk him in
you
the
to this
door.
agreement.
Saying, what up?
What is the only proper name you see in that paragraph? Phil Spector, correct?
Yes.
And the information and documents that you are to provide is in reference to who? In reference to him, Phil Spector, correct?
Yes.
No one else. And finally, if you go up the bottom part of that, please, from where it's agreed to this day, all the way to the bottom, please. Thank you, Jen.
Appreciate that,
No, all
bro.
the way.
Brooklyn's on top of it, man. She's awesome.
Above that, please. Down, down. No, could you go down, please? That's fine, thanks. Right there. Okay. Would you look to the right, please? Well, first look at the top. What is the date on that?
February 5th, 2003.
Okay. And take a look to the right. You see a name written in block letters, Stephanie
The voice,
Jennings.
bro.
It's your handwriting, isn't it?
Yes.
And below
Kills it.
that,
It's
in
his
cursive,
tone.
there's a signature, isn't it?
It's just rude.
Yes.
Whose signature is it?
Mine.
The one you put on the agreement, correct?
Yes.
Chrissy, what's up? Coming through. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate y'all coming through tonight.
And when did you make this agreement with them? As I recall, it was on...
Again, people popping through. Tuesday night Murder Church is now a thing. 2 nights a week, Murder Church right here on Publicly Buzzed. Sunday, 9 a.m., Tuesday, 9 p.m. Back-to-back Murder Church.
February 5th, 2003.
Trying to put a dent in this trial.
Obviously.
Plus Murder Church rules.
That happens to be a date
No, she's not.
before you spoke with the detectives in this case. Isn't that true?
Yes.
So you made this agreement and you got paid for your interview, your information, your documents, and your photographs, $1,000 by
I'll
the
tell you right
National
now,
Park
some
before
motherfucking
you
rich
ever spoke
prick
to-
pulls a gun on me and I'm in this situation. Yeah, I'm going to sell my fucking story. Like, shut the
But
fuck
in law
up.
enforcement, correct?
Correct.
You have a point. There was some personal information. The witness asked, there was identifying
We'll redact
information.
that. I'm sorry.
Please, well,
I
it'll
certainly-
be redacted.
Yes, we'll read
Okay,
it.
thank
We'll
you.
block that out, okay,
All right.
when we, thank you for bringing that to our attention. I apologize.
That was on purpose. That was
Just
an intimidation
a couple
factor,
of other
probably.
areas that I want to
Think you're
address.
evil. So close, Chrissy. I've been putting in work this week. Almost 97. Hustling, baby.
When was the last time you, strike that, the last time you had contact with Mr. Spector was in the year 2001, right around the time of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, isn't that correct, the induction ceremonies?
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know.
What are you doing? What are you working on, Missy?
Would you quarrel with me if I told you that you had contacted him at that time, and/or he had contacted you to invite you to the induction ceremonies in 2001? You wouldn't quarrel with that, would you? You just
No.
don't remember.
Correct.
Okay. Regarding this alleged incident that you said occurred at the car lot, as I understand your testimony, both on direct and cross, you never touched the gun that day, correct, that morning?
No.
He never asked you to touch it, correct?
Not that morning, no.
He never put the gun in your hand, did he?
No.
He never asked you to take the gun and place it inside your mouth, did he?
No.
And he never did that to you, did he?
No.
You did not inspect the gun that morning, did you?
No, I did not.
You don't even know if it was loaded, do you? Not what you assume. Not what you assume. You don't know that it was loaded, do you?
I don't know if it was or wasn't loaded.
It was never
Tiff,
discharged,
why?
correct?
No.
And you never looked at it.
Oh, just you saying that, like I don't know what it was. It just hearing it. Now I can hear the mouth sounds. When before, I guess I was tuning them out somehow. Now I cannot hear it. I can only hear the mouth sounds. Mother of God!
Closely to inspect, in fact, if there were bullets in the chamber.
No.
May I consult with my colleagues for a moment
You may.
before I conclude? why it's helpful to have a great defense team. You can't think of everything.
Son of a bitch!
As I understand it, Mr. Spector came to your room twice, according to your story at the Carlisle, right? He came into the room twice.
Yes.
Okay. First time is when we had the bathtub incident when you shove him in the tub and he falls back into the tub, correct? And he leaves.
Yes.
Yes. And the second incident is when he returns allegedly with a weapon, correct?
Yes.
Now, as I...
She is Stephanie Jennings. Stephanie Jennings was a photographer that worked around Phil, ended up in a relationship with him, you know, kind of an... from the sound of it, from her opening testimony, on again, off again, long distance relationship type of girlfriend with him. And then she is the third female witness in a row that has basically a very similar story of being held at gunpoint by Phil Spector because they want to leave, because he wants sex from them. And the last witness, you know, horrible testimony, he actually did go through with that. And yeah, this is, it's how many more can there be? Even after the first one, I was like, oh God. And then the second one was like, oh God. And it's still continuing. Stephanie Jennings. And yeah, she was in a bad car accident, which is what's happening to her face. And, you know, they showed an older picture of her from when she used to do photography. And I mean, that's horrible, man, to have an accident like that. But yeah, she's still actually very beautiful, though. Pretty lady.
I understood it. He returned
Shitty thing
very
happened.
quily. It was just a matter of moments after
You know, she's
he shoved him in the
self-conscious about
bathtub,
it.
right?
I don't know how long it was.
Well, it was only a matter of minutes, wasn't it? At the most?
Right, like, let's
Very
fucking
long.
go.
And there was again a knock at the door, right? And it was Mr. Spector.
Yeah, get your snacks.
There was no answer to the earlier question.
There was an
After dinner snacks required.
No, there was not a knock at the door the second time.
Okay. You opened the door for him, is that correct?
Not the second time.
Okay. How did he get into the room?
I don't know.
You have no information that he had your key, right?
No, I don't know if he had my key or not.
Okay. You don't recall going to the door and opening it so that he could enter?
Not the second time, no. I was still in the bathroom packing my things.
Okay. Here, I'm going to just need one moment.
All right.
If I may. Mr.
Shannon with the
Caller
share. Thank you
reminded
so
me of
much.
something,
Appreciate
and
that,
I just need to locate it.
All right.
Thank you for your patience, Your Honor.
No problem.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. No further questions.
All right, redirect.
Do you know when Phil Spector walked out of the hotel room after the incident in the bathroom, whether he left the hotel door ajar?
I'm not sure.
You didn't open it for him.
No, I did not.
So it's most reasonable in your mind that he just walked out the door, left it ajar, walked down the hallway, got his gun, and came back, correct?
The objection is sustained. The answer is stricken. The jury is admonished.
Now, you were asked about a contract that you signed, in your words, for the use of your photographs and some information that you may provide for an article about Philip Spector,
Well, Alan
correct?
Jackson is
Okay, and in the contract
evening.
that Mr. Rosen showed you on the board, in several different places, in a blank that was
gotta be
left
staring
blank,
at him.
i.e. the subject matter of the contract,
Son of a
it was
bitch.
handwritten in, it was about Philip Spector, correct?
Correct.
The interview was not about Stephanie Jennings, was it?
No.
Did you agree to be interviewed about Stephanie Jennings?
No.
Did you agree to be interviewed, or the use of your photos, for Philip Spector?
Yes.
Were you shocked when you read the article and it was more about you and your incident with Philip Spector rather than the 2003 incident with Lana Clarkson?
Yes.
To the form, it's content.
I'm going to allow the question. You may answer.
Yes.
All right. Now, you also saw that that contract appeared to be what folks in the entertainment business may call a standard contract, correct?
Correct.
All right. In other words, did you sit with a lawyer and sit there and type out that contract, or was that brought to you for your signature, or Mr. Rosen put it, your John Hancock, maybe Jane Hancock would be more appropriate. Was that provided to you, or did you sit there and hash out the wording of the contract with your lawyer?
It was brought to me to sign, and I should have hashed it out with my lawyer.
Okay. Hindsight's 20/20, right?
Yes.
In every place that Mr. Rosen mentioned the word interviews, doesn't it also say interviews, information, documents, and or photographs in that contract?
Yes.
All right. Was it your information and belief when you signed that contract that you were providing the use of your photographs and all publication of those photographs that you provided for this National Enquirer article?
Yes, I provided them with several photos to use.
Okay, and you had no problem with that?
No.
And in fact, if the writer took certain information that you gave him during an informal interview, that was fine too, correct?
Correct.
All right. You didn't realize the extent to which that article was going to talk about you as opposed to Philip Spector, where it
Perfect timing.
said Philip Spector over and over in the contract. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Mr. Rosen, quoted some language from an interview that you did with Detectives Fournier and Tomlin. And counsel, this is on Bates 3625, or in your page, it'd be page 38. Sure.
Okay.
Ready, counsel? Okay. May I, Your Honor?
Yes, but by the way, for the jury, when you hear the term Bates, if you're not familiar with it, it's a stamp with numbers on it so people can keep track of discovery that's turned over. It's called a Bates stamp. And that's why that reference means that they're giving that number so the other side can find it. That's what it means. All right, you may proceed.
Judge Dowhart in the house.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Let's go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you remember Ms. Jennings stating, and this was quoted in brief by Mr. Rosen, but I want to reiterate, do you remember stating at line 10, Ms. Jennings speaking, quote, I mean, I never thought he would purposely use it to kill anyone, referring to the gun. Do you remember stating that?
Correct.
Is that, in fact, your belief?
Yes.
Was it your
think I
belief
agree with
back in
this. He's my
January of
favorite.
1995?
Yo, PJ Wolf in the house.
When Philip Spector pulled this gun on you?
I didn't believe he would purposely use it to kill me,
That's
but
my
it
question.
could happen.
Okay. My next question is, are you aware that if guns are pulled, sometimes people get killed?
Correct.
Was that...
I'm going to object.
I want to sustain the objection.
Motion to strike, please.
Excuse me. It's argumentative. The motion to strike is granted. The jury is admonished to disregard.
Although... I'm sorry, Mr. Rosen.
That's okay.
All right, you may proceed.
Although you didn't believe at the time that Mr. Spector might use the gun to purposely kill you, did you have fear in your mind that the gun could kill you, whether he purposely intended it or not?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, the objection is overruled. The answer will stand.
Is that why you called 911?
Yes.
And Mr. Rosen also asked you a couple of questions about the difference between your phraseology, pointing the gun at you, and waving it around. All right, what is your best recollection, Ms. Jennings, as you sit here today, about how Mr. Spector was using that gun? Was he using the gun in a threatening manner, or was it more like, oh, here's my gun and I'm polishing it?
It's illegal.
Well, no, he gave two alternatives which are diverse and I believe are appropriate. The objection is overruled. You may answer.
It's a threatening manner.
All right, did you feel threatened?
Yes, I did.
At times, as Mr. Spector was waving the gun around or displaying the gun, or whatever word you want to
Awesome,
use,
man.
was that gun pointed in your direction?
Rolling through.
Yes, it
What's
was.
up?
Did you believe, as you sat in that room or stood in that room, did you believe that Mr. Spector was utilizing that weapon as a threat against you and your
you,
person?
Shannon.
Objection.
I get a lot of compliments
No
on that.
foundation.
Overruled. It calls for her state of mind as to how she felt. You
No,
may
the
answer.
question, Your Honor, if I may, I don't want to argue with the
get
court,
the
but the
blue
question is, I heard, maybe I'm mistaken, but as I heard the question is, what was in Mr. Spector's mind?
It's how she felt about what it was being used for. So it's sort of a combination. I'll allow her to offer her opinion. You may answer the question.
Yes, I felt I was being threatened with it.
And again, is that why you called 911?
Yes.
Mr. Rosen also asked you about Mr. Spector's many nice qualities, and I think he mentioned the fact that Mr. Spector did many nice things like, I don't know, send you wine or cards or letters or take you out to dinner or send limos for you and things like that?
Yes.
Okay, and you agreed that yes, he did in fact, over the course of your relationship, have those qualities, correct?
Yes.
Did he also have an ability to snap and change his mood immediately?
Yes.
Did you ever see that personally?
Yes.
Was this incident with the gun one example of that?
Yes.
Was the incident where he left threatening messages on your machine another example of that?
Yes.
So were there, in fact, in your mind, two Philip Spectors?
Yes.
Did you
Maybe more
see
than that.
the alternative Philip Spector
Multiple
come out
ways, y'all.
that night
That one movie
at the
Split.
Carlisle Hotel after Philip Spector had been drinking heavily?
Yes.
Did you see that alternative Philip Spector
I
come
think
out?
that's like evident in the phone messages that we heard. Like those things were insane, right? Like he sounded completely different in each not in each message, but a lot of like it's like he's a different demeanor completely, man. He's a different person. Like there's more than just two Phil Spector.
After you said,
The
I'm
alcohol
going
just
to leave.
unleashes them.
Yes.
Did you see that alternative Philip Spector
Yo, Megan
come
in the
out
house. What's
when he
up?
pulled the gun on you in the Carlisle Hotel?
Yes.
Butter in the house.
Was that
also.
someone
What's up,
that you were
everybody?
not
Thanks for coming
used
through,
to?
guys.
In other words, was that a different person than you were used to, the nice Philip
Yo,
Spector
hit that like if you're
that
just
Mr.
rolling
Rosen
through.
asked you
Really helps
about?
us out. Appreciate that.
Yes.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
We got a live shot of Phil. You can see the side of him right there. Yeah. There's
Mr.
the
Rosen
front of him.
also asked you
Front shot.
specifically,
Phil Spector.
have you ever seen Mr. Spector, other than the occasion when he did it to you, Ms. Jennings, had you ever seen or were you aware of Mr. Spector ever displaying a gun in any other circumstance in a threatening manner on anyone else? Do you remember him asking you that question?
Yes.
And you indicated that you had not personally seen that.
Correct.
Are you aware of other incidents when Philip Spector has pulled guns on other individuals in threatening manners?
Well, objection. You need a foundation.
I agree there has to be a foundation and a showing of personal knowledge, if you wish to.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
Your Honor, I think that's all I have for Ms. Jennings. Thank you.
Thank you,
Reba,
Ms. Ross.
welcome in.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not done. This sassy motherfucker's not done. Just look at him coming up here, Lord.
Well, let me tell you something,
Coming
brother.
up here, sassy as hell.
Miss Jennings, you just told Mr. Jackson once again, for the second time, you were frightened, you were scared, this bothered you terribly, it was a horrible thing for you, correct? You just told us that here, sitting in this courtroom.
That misstates the
I
testimony.
don't believe those are the words she used, so the objection to the form of the question is sustained.
When I asked you on cross-examination if you felt frightened and scared, you said yes, correct?
Yes.
You said you felt threatened, correct?
Yes.
You said to me, you told me on cross-examination that you were terribly bothered by this incident, correct?
Yes. That's why I called
No,
911.
I just yes or no.
She said yes, that's why I will allow the entire answer to come.
Thank you. When I refreshed your memory, or tried to, by reading the transcript of the interview
He did,
approximately 3 years ago with the two case agents, the two investigators, I pointed out to you that you said exactly the opposite. Were you lying then, or are you lying now?
The
Objection, Your Honor,
objection is
it's
sustained on...
Let me ask it
No,
this.
just a second. The objection is sustained on several grounds. It's an appropriate question. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me ask you this. You understand you have an obligation to tell the truth as a sworn witness?
Objection. This is argument.
Hair trigger there from like.
You may
from the
answer
judge,
that.
You can answer.
Yes.
You also understood you had an obligation.
but- Well, shaking over there. You see Phil shaking?
Yes.
Oh, dude, no. No, Dr. Bullbutter. And the judge. The best
recall
fucking
telling
judge. Sure, I'm convinced.
Officer Fournier,
My favorite.
that you did not...
You know, I'm like, I was on the fence at first. I was like, I don't know. You just can't out the gate say, no, but he's the best.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
The best. I'm going to sit on the desk here.
You
Sound like a
that
fucking
incident that you've just described for Mr. Jackson in a threatening manner, and you said, no, not exactly. You remember saying that?
Not exactly.
You remember saying, no, not exactly.
No, not exactly.
Okay? No, not exactly that you don't remember saying that, or no, not exactly that's your answer?
I guess
You want me
it's
to
a
bring the
little of
trans-
both.
All right, you want me to bring the transcript up to you?
Yes, please.
All right, you may approach.
When Officer Fournier...
Page, counsel.
I will keep an eye on make sure that he doesn't do anything.
Hold on,
Oh God! Oh God! They're pulling me down. They're pulling me down.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I don't feel like I'm a
Did
real bad
Officer
spot for him.
Fournier
Oh,
ask you the
God.
following question? So, I mean, how
Yeah.
did you didn't view that incident that you felt threatened? Did he ask you that
Get over here
question?
real quick.
Is that the question he asked you?
Just calm down.
That's the question he asked me.
Tell the jury what you said.
I said, no, not exactly.
Would you look further down? You've answered the question. Further down. Did you tell Officer Fournier, the case agent in this case, this was just kind of his normal lifestyle? So like being around
He is
guns and
ground
alcohol
spouse.
and everything, the shock factor
Term
wasn't there
goes
for
to
you.
2029.
Right. Did you answer those questions in that way? Just yes or no, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also answer them in the following way to the following questions? I mean, I grew up with guns. My grandfather had one in every cupboard in the house. Fournier, oh really? Jennings, behind every door. Fournier, okay. Jennings. So it didn't, like the whole gun thing just didn't. Fournier did. Jennings bother me. Those are your words that you spoke out of your mouth to that officer at that time, yes or no?
Yes, but that's
That's
out of
right.
context.
That's right. I got his back.
Well,
It's in the transcript, man.
it's in the transcript, but the context is, that's not what we
Did
were
you say
talking about.
man?
That's not what you meant?
We were talking about,
No, is that not what you meant?
No, excuse me. She's explaining, you've brought up what you believe to be a difference and what may be a difference. She's trying to explain why there might or might not be. You may explain.
we were talking about, he had guns around when I was around.
Okay.
And that didn't bother me that
He's trying to act like Elvis, right?
He
Elvis
always
had
had
guns
guns
all over
around.
weird places,
I
didn't
didn't
he?
think he would be pulling them on me.
What I asked you was this. Did you make these statements to these officers at that time when you weren't in a court of law in front of a jury? You did,
Those
didn't
are
you?
the statements I made,
Thank
and
you.
they're not
Thank
in
you. You've answered the
context.
question.
Now, may I, excuse me,
going.
Mr.
I'm getting up.
Rosen, she has not answered the question. I have tried to explain to counsel, and
I'm
if
sorry.
you want me to interrupt, I will.
No, I'm sorry.
Yes or no does not always answer the
Hold
question.
out.
If it's appropriate for the witness to explain an answer, they may. You may explain your answer.
The context that they were talking
No, I ain't done. Hold on.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Did you hear that? You sassy little prick. Jesus.
about then is him having guns around and his actions in general. There was alcohol around, there was guns around in general. We weren't talking the specific Carlisle incident.
Well, when he asked you about feeling threatened at that incident, he used the word incident, referring to the Carlisle incident. That's what you were talking about in the prior pages, isn't it? You want to sit and read the transcript? I'm happy to present it to you to do that. Isn't that when he uses the word incident, that's what he's referring to, correct?
Pastor Lawyer Steve. Lawyer by day, pastor by Wednesday and Sunday. Come and see. Coming to a theater near you.
Flip the next couple pages that you showed me, it said that he had the alcohol and guns around. That
Oh,
was
there it
just part
is.
of him.
That's the name of the show.
Ms. Jennings, when the question was asked of you, you didn't view that incident that you felt threatened. No, not exactly. You understood that was referencing the Carlisle incident. That's what you were in the middle of discussing with Detective Fournier at that time, correct?
I would have to read the entire transcript because
Well, we
it
have a
seems
lunch-
to be out of context.
Okay, let me ask a different subject. This agreement that Mr. Jackson asked you about, correct? You signed it, right? Is that correct? The agreement with the National Enquirer?
Yes.
Nobody forced you to sign that agreement when you put your pen to paper, did they?
No.
Nobody demanded that you sign that, did they?
No.
Nobody said, hey, wait a minute. You can take a moment.
Whoa,
if you want to read
whoa,
this
dude,
over
don't
as
be
long as
pushing
it's
me,
necessary.
shit.
Legal
Oh,
counsel on
God.
this. Nobody did that for you, did they?
No.
And nobody prevented you from doing that, correct?
No, I didn't. At the time, I should have.
I didn't ask you what you should have. Isn't it true that if you wanted to, all you had to do was ask this gentleman who worked for the National Enquirer that you needed a few moments to maybe call your lawyer on the phone and read it to him or meet with him before you signed it, and you didn't do it, did you?
No, I didn't do it.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Correct. All right. Subject to recall, you're excused. Thank
You made
you for being here.
you made
may
your
sit
point.
down.
You're
We
a
will be in
prick.
recess until 1:30. Keep in mind the court's admonition. Thank you. All right.
All right, we're going to keep rolling here. Let's see what's coming up next. Again, we're trying to get through some of this fucking NYPD 911 operator and custodian of records, Vicky Daniels Matthews, takes the stand. 48 minutes, yes. Perfect timing for a 2-hour murder church on a Tuesday. The trial gods are smiling down upon me.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah. Welcome to the party, pal. Back at it, Judge Dowhard, Judge Bruce Willis, a.k.a. the man.
Anybody need to address me about something?
Thanks for being here, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't and you snuck through the door, hit the like. Really helps us out. Helps push Publicly Buzzed a little bit further into the old YouTube algorithm. And yeah, all the shares on X are so freaking appreciated, guys. Thank y'all seriously so much. You guys are freaking amazing. Like, absolutely crazy. I'm going to give you extra bells today. Extra bells here on the Old Murder Church. Season 4, Phil Spector Insanity Trial is what I'm going to call it, because this is absolute madness. It's been spicy as hell. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Appreciate it.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Not messing around. Not messing around. Hold up.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up.
Let's go.
Messrs. Jackson and Dixon and myself.
I'm going to do a fix on the sound just in case.
The objection this morning to the tape court file message.
Let's go.
The people haven't sought to put it in, as far as I understand.
We're seeking to put it in now.
Okay.
I told him at the
Got some
break.
more people rolling through here. Strychnine in. What's going on? Coming through.
I was waiting until
Hello,
the defendant
Spring.
was
Welcome
finished
in.
until full
Hit that like, guys.
cross-examination, redirect,
Thanks for coming through
recross,
tonight.
all of that stuff.
Okay.
It is my considered opinion that the door was open.
Oh, shit. Before we get totally rolling, holy crap. Shiraz just came through and gifted out 10 memberships here tonight. Let's see if I can get all these names right first and foremost. I don't know if I can. We're going to give it a go. We're going to give it a try. Let's see. Reba Wiggly coming through here. J Bunny, Chrissy Cooksey coming through here, grabbing one up. Dr. Bull Butter grabbing one up. I gifted one to them on Jay's stream the other day, which is freaking awesome. So yeah, picking up another one. Welcome in here, Dr. Bull Butter. And a new name. I love seeing the new names, guys. Ned Smith, Where's the Pickles grabbing one. Just a Crazy Swifty Jen, I relate. Jade Roscoe, get the hell in here. And Dottie for Gotti, what a cool name. Holy shit. We ain't playing around, y'all. We ain't playing around. I'm gonna hit you with a few more real quick. That was a lot. Damn, Shiraz, thank you so much. What is happening? Shiraz comes through, and make sure if you're just randomly out in the chat that you have gifted memberships turned on for moments like this when Shiraz comes through and just goes wild, because that was freaking amazing. Thank you so much. Welcome in here, everybody. And any new people in here, anytime we do get new peeps, drop a bruise in the chat, drop maybe a liquor drink in the chat, huh? Drop a little probably nothing in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, that's freaking awesome. Murder Church again, Tuesday nights, Sunday mornings. It's a thing. We're trying to put a dent in this freaking trial. In real life, it was 6 months. And we're putting hours. We're chipping away at it. Give me the chisel. Pop, 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 pop. Chipping away at it.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And we're being led along the way with one of the coolest fucking judges that I've seen yet. Let's rock and roll. Thank you so much, Shiraz. Seriously.
That, in fact, it does become relevant. Mr. Rosen on
and a coffee drink. Send me a baby. Boom, bop.
About the demeanor
Thanks,
of the
guys.
defendant, whether or not he was a nice guy, whether he gave her wine and gifts and was cordial and pulled out chairs and opened the doors and things of that nature. And I then followed up with Ms. Jennings and asked, is there any difference to that demeanor? For instance, when he acted the way he acted in the Carlisle Hotel or otherwise? And she said, absolutely. There were times when he would snap. And I said, was one of those times when he left messages on your phone machine? And she said, yes, that's a good example of one of those times when he just snapped and he was a different Phil Spector. We're asking to play that tape for that value for the jurors.
Mr. Rosen?
Your Honor, I once again renew my objections this morning, and actually now I think the defense...
Yeah, this emoji's amazing. Where is this emoji from? Is it inside of the YouTube emojis? Because I don't see it. It might be blocked by this one button over here also. That's the sweetest emoji.
Judge, because, again, this is dated December 24th, 94. The Carlisle alleged incident occurs in January of '95. It is post, not pre, to these phone calls. There is... I understand Mr. Jackson's argument on this, okay? But it's not, the substance, the body of the calls is not tied to that incident in any way. There's nothing in the record to suggest what this is about, and I think it's highly prejudicial. So I'm going to ask the court, again, materiality grounds, relevancy grounds, and 352 exclude.
Thank you.
My only response to that would be, Your Honor, this leaves, I think the cross-examination has systematically attempted to leave the jurors with a false impression, a patently false impression about the nature of Mr. Spector's relationship with Stephanie Jennings. She opined, sorry, I'll take that back. She testified, not her opinion, but she testified directly that she saw him in circumstances wherein he would snap and turn into a different person. That goes to the heart of what we're trying to establish here. She was cross-examined on that point, on that very point, in an effort to say, hey, look, this is the kinder, gentler Phil Spector, and you knew him to be a genteel soul, if you will. He bought you gifts, and we've seen indications of little cards with raccoons, baby raccoons on them, et cetera, et cetera. That is a false impression that's being left with the jurors. We have specific authenticated evidence that corroborates what Stephanie Jennings said, which is, at any moment, he could snap and turn into a different person. Usually, that was when alcohol was involved, and I think the tape speaks for itself that he even sounds inebriated on the tape.
I think I'd have to hear the tape to see if that part is relevant. Mr. Rosen?
Yes, if I may just respond briefly. With great respect for Mr. Jackson, because I have great respect for him, and I have great respect for Mr. Dixon, he's making an argument to the court that this will leave the jury with a false impression, and I think that may be a bit off the mark.
I'm going to starting every argument that I ever get into with, I really respect this man, but this man can suck a dick in hell.
The impression the jury is going to get is going to be whatever impression they come away with based on the credibility of this witness. And certainly one impression they may come away with is, as he spoke to a moment ago. Another impression they may come away with is they may decide that they don't believe any of the items or any of the evidence that was adduced on cross-examination and only accept the direct. And in that case, you have exactly the flip side of the argument, which I didn't make, and I purposely didn't make it because none of us know what the jury is perceiving at the moment they're hearing the evidence or what they're going to do months from now when they decide to go into the jury room and deliberate on this matter. So the point is, I don't think it does create a false impression. It creates an impression. What kind of impression it creates is up to the jury to decide and put a label on it, okay? But there's certainly enough evidence in this case that they could conclude exactly the opposite. They could say, we didn't pay any attention to what Mr. Rosen brought out in cross-examination. We believe that Mr. Spector should be cast in a bad light. So it's not, I think, appropriate to make an argument that all that's left is a false impression, because it's not. You sat and heard the evidence. You heard the testimony of Ms. Jennings this morning, and certainly it's susceptible to a number of interpretations, not just one. And the problem you have with this, and I understand you want to hear, I just will say one last thing, and the problem you have with it is, again, the date. If this was after the fact, and somewhat closely after the fact, there'd be no foundation argument on this. But it's not. It predates the incident by almost, 2+ weeks. So there's no foundation. We don't know what this applies to. We don't know what it's over. It could have been over a very innocent thing. The government assumes that these words that appear in these messages are based on something bad, something sinister. It may not be. It may be a perfectly appropriate reason why this was said, which has nothing to do with the government's theory. So the court, I think, should listen to the tape and then decide what's appropriate.
Where's the witness at this time?
She's gone. The foundation for the tape has already been established.
Well, I understand that. She talked about threatening calls and whatnot, but I think we need her to put this in context. At this point, I'm not going to rule on this. I'm just going to defer a ruling. One, until I have a chance to listen to the tape, which I'm not going to do on the jury's time. And number two, I think either by offer of proof or by the witness, I need to put this into context as to what this refers to. She has testified, but not specifically. I need some more information to determine relevance and
y'all.
then weighed
Both of you.
against 352.
Jackson and you,
so I think
you
we're a little
prick.
short on facts.
Listen,
You
right
know,
here.
the offer of proof, and I'll leave this with the court, and I realize you don't want to do this on the jury's time, and I don't mind, that's fine. With regard to the offer of proof, Mr. Rosen is
Sitting on
under
his
the
desk.
impression that
Oh,
in
God.
part of the messages, there are two messages that we seek to play. I'm not so sure Mr. Rosen is correct about the date. Ms. Jennings would indicate, I believe if she was asked, that these tape recordings came as a result of, do you remember her testimony about being invited to a birthday party and she stood Phil
Yes.
Spector up?
Yes.
This was in response to that, which was actually not 1994, it was 1996.
Standing
That was
Phil
my
Spector up?
impression
I bet he
of
lost
when
his
these tape
freaking
messages
mind.
were left. And even though I think there are 3 different messages, one of them, and they were just all on the same machine, one of them predates the incident, which I'm not interested in.
Same.
The last 2, which are the more threatening of the 3 messages. As a matter of fact, one of them's not even from Phil Spector, one's from his assistant or something. The last 2 that are in his voice post-date the incident and came right on the heels of her standing him up at the birthday party a year later in 1996, I believe.
Well, folks, let me. This is taking too much of the jury's time, and I'm going to stop it. You need to at least talk to your witness and be prepared to make a very specific offer of proof with some specific dates, and that will help me make a determination, and I can listen to the tape at some point.
That's fine.
In the meantime, I'd like to move forward with the
That's
jurors.
fine.
Yes,
We
Mr. Dixon.
just have a moment because she may have left the building and I need to try to stop.
All right.
She's not out of the city yet.
Okay.
She's just left the building.
All right.
So we'll,
In the meantime, can we proceed with another witness?
we can.
All right, let's bring in the jurors.
Bring him in.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Here we
Yes, I
go.
do.
Thank you. Please be seated in the witness stand.
I forgot who this lady was. Hold on. I want to get refreshed. I'm sure she'll tell me also. NYPD 911 operator and custodian of records. There we go. Vicky Daniels Matthews.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
My name is Vicky Daniels Matthews. First name spelled capital Vickie. Last name capital Daniels hyphenated Matthews, capital Matthews.
Thank you very much, and you may proceed. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, apparently we're having a problem with the air conditioning. You're used to it. Okay.
Oh, God.
We're working on it.
What is it
You may
with
proceed.
trials and air conditionings? Alan Jackson. It's so damn hot, breaks the air conditioners. Huh?
Thank
oh,
you,
I'll
Art.
see myself now.
First of all, do you prefer Miss Daniels Matthews or Miss Matthews?
Miss Matthews is fine.
Okay, thanks. That'll cut some of the syllables down a little bit. Miss Matthews, tell us what you do for a living, please.
I am a police communication technician for the New York City Police Department.
How long have you been so employed?
I've been employed at the New York City Police Department for 17 and a half years.
And did we ask you to join us from Manhattan, as a matter of fact, to come out here to California, explain a couple of
This lady's
police records?
heard some shit.
Yes, she did.
All right. What do your duties include as a communications technician for the NYPD?
As a communications technician, I am a 911 operator first, dispatcher second, and a sprint tech third.
Most of us probably know what a 911 operator is.
Fuck that up.
What is a sprint tech?
A sprint tech is a technician who handles all the sprints that come in from the 911 calls for a specific date, day, and time.
And so that begs the next question, what is sprint?
Sprint is a special police report network terminology.
Okay, so it's an acronym,
Yes.
and it doesn't mean sprint like the telephone company.
No, it does not.
It has nothing to do with that.
No, it does not.
Okay. Were you asked, or was someone in your department asked to search for any and all records of an incident that occurred on or about January 13th, 1995 at the Carlisle Hotel in Manhattan involving one Philip Spector?
Yes, they were.
Tell me how that search is conducted for these kind of archived records.
That search is conducted through Sprint. I'm on the microfiche. We search through the date and the year and the specific location that is given to us by either the attorney, the DA, detectives, or police officers that come for the Sprint.
The way that the Sprint network is set up, that communications network is set up in New York, is it possible, if you're given the proper date and time and location of an event, is it possible to go back and check for logs that are kept pursuant to a 911 call?
That is correct.
In the normal course of business, Ms. Matthews, how are logs created? For instance, if someone calls 911 and says, hey, you know what, there's a big dog in my yard and I need a police officer to come out there and get that dog out of my yard, is there some kind of a call that, I'm sorry, some kind of a log that is created if in fact a unit or 2 units or 5 units are dispatched out to that yard to get rid of the dog?
Yes, it is.
Describe that in detail for us. How does that work?
Well, when the operator receives the call, she states police operator. She gives the operator number. She asks where the location is and what borough they're calling from, and what type of call or what incident is going on or what's the emergency. Then while she's getting the information from the person on the other end, it is typed into the system.
And are there shortcuts, if you will, as the operator is typing something into the system?
As a trained 911 operator, we are trained for 7 weeks to use abbreviations.
Are you familiar with those abbreviations?
Yes, I am.
So if called upon to do that at the judge's request in just a few minutes, could you in fact interpret or interpolate some of those abbreviations?
I want to hear her calls.
Some of the abbreviations are MW, male white.
Okay.
CC, child caller.
Okay.
SFC, C, female complainant.
I see.
MB, male black.
So there are various,
Sorry.
that's okay, there are various abbreviations just to make your life a little easier and quicker and more efficient when you're sending information out to a patrol unit, correct?
That is correct.
And is that information then sent over the airwaves or otherwise to an actual screen or something like that in a patrol car?
What happens is once the 911 operator receives the information from the person on the other end, the caller, it is then entered into the computer and sent to the dispatcher, who then talks with the units in the field, that is in the patrol cars or on the streets.
Okay, so the dispatcher is reading what's being typed in. The dispatcher then verbally...
Please put Cutler up against this lady, please. Oh, shit. He's going to get slapped the fuck around. I'm going to tell you that shit right the fuck now.
I'm telling you like it is, baby.
Relates to the responding units, male white, 30 years old, big dog in the yard, something like that.
That is correct.
Okay. And those logs are kept, those incident logs are kept and recorded by job number, is that correct?
That is correct.
And are those job numbers kept in the ordinary course of business as a unique number assigned to a particular 911 call?
Yes, they are.
Were you able to successfully find the incident logs, or the Sprint logs as you call them, with regard to an incident that occurred at about 6:20 in the morning on January 13th, 1995, emanating from the Carlisle Hotel located at 35 East 76th Street in New York, New York, specifically the borough of Manhattan?
That is correct.
Well, that was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Yes.
If you disagreed with me, I don't think I could have repeated that. Was this a 911 emergency call, ma'am?
Yes, it was.
Did you recover those logs and provide them to the district attorney's office here in Los Angeles?
Yes, we did.
I want to show you a document. As a matter of fact, I'll show you the actual document. We'll place a copy of the document on the overhead, but with the court's permission, I've shown this to counsel. I'm holding what appears to be a 2-page, 8.5 by 11 photostatic copy with some writing on it. The writing on the first page is simply the letter A. The writing on the second page includes B, C, and D, and this purports to be an incident record listing by job number. And I'll ask for the, and it appears to be a Sprint ID number or Sprint incident record. May I have this marked as, the compilation document marked as people's next in order?
6, so marked.
I'll place a P6 on the first and second page on the reverse. May I approach the witness briefly?
You may.
Thank you. Ms. Matthews, tell me if you recognize the document, the 2-page document that I've just set in front of you.
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize that particular document?
I recognize the document by the Sprint number, the location, and the date is given, and the title on top that says incident record listing of job number.
All right. Just to familiarize us with what it is that we're looking at, because none of us have ever seen anything like this before, there appears to be a bunch of typing on this particular document. How do you read this? In what chronological order would you read these sections on the document that appear to be broken into 1, 2?
Hold on. Let me get off the screen here. I like to get off the screen when there's documents up there.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections.
We read them according to the location and the job number that we find it by.
Okay. Do you see the letter A on the bottom right, and I'm going to call it a block. I don't know what other word to use for it. That bottom right block that's being highlighted right now. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you recognize
Appreciate
that
you guys.
incident number or incident
Thanks.
record?
Yes, I do.
Is that an incident
That is the
record that
truth.
specifically relates to
checked
the
in
incident at
into
about
the live
6:23 in
feed
the
for a
morning,
minute.
beginning at about 6:23 in the
See what
morning,
old Phil's
a
doing
911 call
straight
that
on.
emanated from
There's a
the
camera angle right in
Carlisle
front
Hotel.
of him. Oh, wait
Yes,
a
it
minute.
does.
Okay, the reason that
Check
we
him
have
out.
you here, Ms.
Oh,
Matthews,
God.
is
Yep, still
pretty
scary as
simple.
hell.
I need you to read to us what
Demon
that
from
document
hell.
means. There's a lot of abbreviations that we may not be able to read. Starting with the time, can you tell what time and place this incident record indicates the 911 call was made?
Okay, the time that it came in is 06:23 hours. That's military time. It's 06:23 a.m. our time.
All right. So that's 6:23 in the morning, correct?
That is correct.
Looking about midway down in that block, if you will, the highlighted block, do you see a job number?
Save, Sammy.
Well,
Oh, I'm checking.
okay, let's start with, so we know what we're talking about, where it says 212-744-1600. Do you see that in about the middle of the page right there?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just for reference, let's move beneath that and tell me, or to the left of that rather, and tell me if you recognize something that says FC Jennings.
Yes, I do.
Okay, what does that mean?
Female caller, Jennings.
All right, would the Jennings portion be the name of the female caller?
That is correct.
All right. It indicates under that some information about duplicate job number and then some, it looks like codes beneath that. And then there's a time, 0623.
Cipher this.
And to the right of that appears to be some kind of coding as well. Could you interpret that for us?
Okay, as I explained before, the 06:23 a.m. military time and 6:23 a.m. our time, that's the time, and all the other stuff is computer generated. I have no knowledge of that.
And is it important insofar as the incident log and recording the events
Yeah, Debbie,
of the
thank you for
911 call?
coming here hanging
or is that
out.
just
Seriously,
a computer-generated number
Yeah,
and
I like the
series of
trial
letters
and,
that
yeah, I think
is
it's good.
not
I think it's
necessary
good to go
for
twice
your
a week,
interpretation
kind of put
of
it-
this
put a
particular
dent in
call?
it.
That is computer generated numbers and letters, which is not necessarily for us to interpret this print.
Starting to the right of that, where it says room 3307, could you read to the right as we're going from left to right, and then I'm assuming it breaks down
It's a
back
long
on the line beneath it and read it left to right as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, could you read that for us and tell us what that means?
It says room 3307, 33rd floor, call back 212-744-1600.
And I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. Is there an address on this block telling where that call is coming from?
Yes, it is.
Where is that address?
The address is 35 East 76th Street between Madison Avenue and Park Avenue.
Okay. Do you see where it says Carlisle Hotel?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is that the address for the Carlisle Hotel?
That is correct.
All right, I missed that just a second ago. You see how good I am at reading these things. Going back to the callback number, how do you read the SFC, Stephanie Jennings, how do you read that going from left to right?
C, female complainant, Stephanie Jennings.
Is that again a reference to the name of the caller?
That is correct.
Then what does WPN involved mean?
WPM means weapon. It's abbreviation for weapon involved.
And to the right of that, can you continue reading from left to right?
MW for male white. In the room now.
And what does that tell you?
That the male white is in the room now.
In the room, meaning room 3307.
Oh, well, Sharon, that's
That is
crazy.
correct.
And what about to the right of that?
Holy shit.
ORP.
That's short for operator.
All right. And that's an indication, the 1430-12 is an indication of which operator is typing in this information?
That is correct.
All right. Moving to the line beneath that, moving to the right, past the computer-generated code portion where it starts FEM. Could you read from left to right what those abbreviations mean, please?
FEM is abbreviation for female. ABT is abbreviated for about 20 years old, crying, states the door is locked, states he is standing by the phone, states please use caution.
This is information that the 911 operator is receiving from the caller, the female caller or female complainant, Stephanie Jennings, correct?
That is correct.
Let's move to block B. And I believe that's going to be on the second page of People 6, correct?
That is correct.
And as soon as you have that in mind, then we'll go ahead and highlight that.
That's a great question, City Kitty. If you had Thanksgiving at Action Jackson's house, with the defender or the prosecutor Jackson carved the turkey?
On the overhead as well. Do you see that?
Would you like me to read from the paper or the?
No. We're going to go ahead and highlight that. I'm sorry. We're going to go ahead and enlarge that whole thing so we can all read along with you. You need just a second? Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to go ahead with the court's permission so we don't use any more of the juror's time and just have the witness read from the original.
That's fine.
If we can get the computer glitch. Something tells me the air conditioner's not working for Sudi a lot more than it's not working for the rest of us right now. May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you. I'm going to steal this from you for just a second, put it on the overhead, on the elbow, and then have you read from your original, if you don't mind. There we go. So what we call redundancy. Ms. Matthews, take a look. If that's a little hard to read, I don't know if it is or isn't. At the block that's labeled B as in boy.
I know.
And I'm going to point to a couple of things on the overhead and ask you to continue reading. And I think the last thing that you read was something about male white was in the room now. Please use caution, weapon involved, correct?
That is correct.
Moving forward to where line 11, and I'm using that in layman's terms, where it says 624, there appears to be again, I can't get words out. There appears to be, again, a computer-coded reference. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, looking beneath it at 625, starting with MW dressed, could you read that for us?
Male white, dressed in black, dark brown hair, about 5 feet, thin built. Operator 1430-12.
Is this, again, additional information that the operator 1430-12 is getting from the female caller, Stephanie Jennings?
That is correct.
All right. At 625, there appears to be another computer-coded input, and then beneath that, 2 lines, starts with FEM, afraid. Could you read that for us, please?
FEM is abbreviated for female, afraid to talk, male, ML for male, standing by the phone, PLZ for please, please hurry, operator 1430-12.
Continuing on down the next line at 625, starting with STS. Could you please read that for us?
STS is abbreviated for states. State security is downstairs. PLZ, as I said before, is abbreviated for please. Please help. Operator 1430-12.
That's now the 3rd time that the phrase please help has appeared in the first 2 blocks. Is that correct?
Please help, I only see one, sir.
The look on...
Everybody's like, oh, I got that.
I'll move on. Anytime the word PLZ or the abbreviation PLZ appears, is that the word please?
That is correct.
Okay, so if it says please hurry, please help, please use caution, that's that abbreviation, correct?
That is correct.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. There appears to be at 627, again, a computer-generated code inputted, and then it basically ends that block B, correct?
Gypsy coming
Correct.
downstairs.
I'm going to have to approach one more
All
time.
right, I'm ready to go outside.
Move to block C and D, if I may. Taking a look at the area on People 6 that's been marked with a C as in Charlie. Let's move down past the
Jen, Dale, Rio. Thanks
computer
for coming in tonight.
the
Appreciate
computer
it.
code and move to 627 where it indicates SLOW down.
It's
Slow
the old
down.
like
What
ski
does
if
that
y'all
mean?
haven't yet.
Slow down means the
Appreciate it.
operator's getting feedback that the units are telling her to advise the other
appreciate her.
units to slow down.
Okay. In other words, that's some police jargon for
What they say
we
in
need
the
to
old West.
reconnoiter at the same time or something of that nature. In other words, don't get there before us.
No, it just means to slow down. If you're speeding, slow down.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely. I should just sit down now. All right. Thank you for that. I'm never going to live that down, Ms. Matthews. You're never going to
get a better answer.
Never, ever, ever. All right, let's move to 628. Starting at the line where it indicates FC. Could you read that for us, please?
FC is abbreviated for female caller. Stephanie asks OPR for abbreviation for operator to stay on the line with her. States, STS means states. MW for male white. Just walked outside the door. Name Phil Spector. 60-year-old, big celebrity, operator 1430-12.
Moving down to 0629, the next line down, starting with the word correction. Could you please read that for us?
Then it says correction, name Phil Spector, 60-year-old, went to room 3301.
At 630, starting with ML. Could you read that for us, please?
ML is abbreviation for male, went to room 3301, 33rd FLR is abbreviated for floor, operator 1430-12.
And I think that ends, well, there's something down that looks, a line below that or two lines below that looks like it says transmitted additional. Does that mean anything?
Exmitted additional means that the additional information that was received from the 911 operator to the dispatcher was dispatched out to the units.
All right, fair enough. May I approach one more time?
You may.
Now let's move to block D as in
Very
dog.
small, man.
Starting where it indicates the word continued at 60631. Could you please read beginning with SPCT?
SPCT is abbreviated for Supervisor Police Communication Technician. DER is the name of the supervisor. NTFD is abbreviation for notified. OPR is abbreviated for Operator 1430-12.
And the line beneath that beginning with OU.
OU is abbreviation for Operations Unit. The name of the person is MERZ, M-E-R-Z. NTFD for notified, and then again, SPCT abbreviation for Supervisor Police Communication Technician, DER.
So, and that basically ends the information from the female caller. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So in total, the call began at 0623, which is 6:23 in the morning. That's when the 911 call was generated to begin with, and the call appears to have ended somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 minutes later at 0633 or 0634. Is that correct?
That is correct.
No, that's all I have.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Yes, thank you.
Damn, Brooklyn. There we go. Let's get a little spice. We still got some time here, baby. Who's she getting? She getting the mob
you say
defense
miss or
attorney?
Ms.?
Oh, she's getting this
It's
little dude.
Mrs.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, this
I'm doing
sassy.
about the same as Mr. Jackson here this
Defense.
afternoon.
No pun intended, all
I
right?
forgot. I think I learned his name last time.
Mrs. Matthews, welcome to Los Angeles, and
No, I
on
couldn't
behalf
find
of
this
some of
dude's
us,
name.
thanks for
Everybody
bringing the
get
hot
help with
weather.
it. I need Dizzy on the case for this.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ma'am, I'm going to ask you some questions here, if I may, okay?
I need to make proper fun of this stuff.
As I understand it, you are a police communications technician for the New York City Police Department. Is that right?
That is correct.
And that is a mouthful. You've been with them for 17 and a half years, correct?
That is correct.
And how long have you been in the position as a police communications tech?
For 17 years.
For the full 17?
Yes.
So you're definitely one of the instructors and the veterans there, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this call here.
That's the straight ahead shot.
Incident log, as I understand it. Am I
Live from the
referring to correctly? Incident
managed to
record
find
listing?
that.
That is correct.
Can I call it an incident log? Is that okay?
It is an incident log.
Okay. Now, as I understand it, this is a business record, a business document, which is maintained by the New York Police Department, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And is there any, I mean, I'm sure there's just no way you can estimate how many calls NYPD gets in a given year like this, just hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, we're talking about a very large
So
cosmopolitan
wow is to
city,
the
aren't we?
outfit.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Remembering the exact
And
outfit you're wearing.
As
That's
I
crazy.
understand it, when a call like this comes in, there's actually a couple of records that are made, one of which is what we just saw up here on the screen, which is the, I'm calling it again, the incident log, correct?
It is an incident log, but it's a sprint.
Okay. Another way of recording these calls, other than an incident log, is with an actual tape. Isn't that true?
That is correct.
Okay. And as I understand it, back in 1995, back on January 13th, 1995 specifically, when this incident log was authored or created, NYPD did in fact tape record these calls that came in. Isn't that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And this call was tape recorded, wasn't it?
That is correct.
But we don't have that tape, do we?
No, we do not.
And I understand the reason we do not have that tape, which would actually have the voice or voices of the party speaking, am I right about that?
That is correct, sir.
So if I called you, for example, or if anybody called you, Mr. Jackson called you and was reporting a 9/11 call and you were the operator that received it, there would be a tape recording, a tape memorialization of your call with Mr. Jackson or with me, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. You told us in this particular call, which I think is call number F02257,
Y'all
am I
noticing
right?
that?
Help me here if you would, please.
My mob boss does mob boss things.
Correct.
Okay. You told us we don't have the tape, correct?
No, we do not, sir.
And the reason we don't have the tape is because it was erased on April 14th of 1995. Isn't that true?
That is correct.
Okay. I also understand that there are roll call sheets, and help me here if you would, please, again. There are roll call sheets that are maintained on a daily basis by NYPD. Is that correct?
What type of roll call sheets are you talking
In
about?
other words, which officers appear for duty that day at a particular time? I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, what is happening, Sarah?
Are you aware of
I'm
her?
objecting as to her expertise. She would know.
Isn't it weird that
She
you
might.
said this
Just
exact
First of
thing?
all, and then we'll sort of work backwards. Let's just see if she's able to answer the question. Now, do you know, ask the question again.
Sure. Do you know if New York Police Department maintains roll call sheets? In other words, lists of officers who report on a daily basis for their job assignments?
Yes, they have roll call sheets for their officers.
Okay. Can I follow up?
Yes.
And you know that, you've learned that through your experience as 17 and a half years with NYPD as a police communications technician, right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And in this particular instance, were you able or were you ever asked to locate the roll call sheets for the police officers that responded to the Carlisle Hotel on that morning?
No, I was not. That is not part of my job, sir.
Okay. Do you know this, and you can just answer yes or no, do you know if anybody else, as a representative of the New York Police Department, was requested by Mr. Jackson or Mr. Dixon through the DA's office to find the roll call sheets for that particular morning?
Live shot. Shoot.
Sustain. Call for hearsay, call for speculation.
Shutters. Oh, God,
As I understand it,
the timing of that was
this
perfect.
call was finally cleared, and if I'm wrong
Should
here,
change
you'll
his
tell me
damn
if I
wig.
step in mud, okay? And it was cleared as a
Deserve a different
10-91
wig is what we need.
or situation corrected, is that right?
It was ended as a 1091. Final disposition mean condition was corrected. That is correct.
Okay, would you kindly tell the jury, what does it mean condition was corrected?
1091 for condition corrected means that there was no serious crime where they had to either lock someone up, take someone under, or involve more units or different type of other agencies. It was not that serious of a crime.
Okay. And when you say it was not that serious of a crime, can you just define that a little bit further for me?
It wasn't that someone was shot or stabbed, or it wasn't someone emotionally disturbed, or wasn't someone bleeding to death.
Okay. Or assaulted or something along those lines?
Objection.
Sustained.
Let's take a look at the call, if we can, for a couple of moments, okay? I wonder
call
if we
Attorney
can
Tim
have that
Gunn.
put back up there,
I did look
please.
Tim Gunn up, and he does look like him.
You may.
Yeah,
They give us- they take us
definitely
away.
the Crypt Keeper.
Thank you.
Defense Attorney Gotti, a.k.a. Mob Boss Defense Attorney.
Okay, let's,
Defense Attorney Gotti.
let me ask you a few
Probably be out
foundational
soon.
questions.
It's all the time having to go to the hot doctor.
You-
He's so unhealthy.
We're not the person that received this call, is that correct?
No, I was not.
You are testifying here today as the custodian of these records, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So you have no personal knowledge whatsoever about the contents of this call, only what you see on the pages on these papers, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Have you ever met a young lady named Stephanie Jennings?
No, I have not, sir.
Have you ever spoken to Stephanie Jennings?
No, I have not.
So as you sit there, you know nothing about this other than that name appears on Section A in the middle there. Sudi, if you could help me with that, please. Thank you. Maybe you could use that little square thing you did when Alan was... Oh, it was on the computer. Okay, well, then pointing's fine. Oh, don't ask me to do something technical. You've really got the wrong guy for that.
It's just a laser pointer.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
the first
scared.
time he said that
Okay, can...
to a woman before.
Yes. Down on the next 2 lines down, if you would. Right there, yeah. Okay, you see the name there?
Yes, I do.
So all you know is that's the name of some young lady, correct?
That is correct, sir.
As I understand, you've never spoken with her personally about any of the information contained in this exhibit, People
I don't
6,
know
right?
this guy's real name.
That is
though. Maybe
correct.
get Dizzy to look into it. Anybody
And
can find
so-
it, it's her.
My final foundational question is, you were not a recipient witness to any of the information contained in the 4 sections, A, B, C, and D, of People 6. That's true, isn't it?
That is correct, sir.
And when I say recipient witness, you didn't see any of this with your own eyes. It's only what you're reading on the pages, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Deacon Dogs, Dave? I don't know about all that.
Now, could we go to, I believe, B, if you would, please, Sudi? Can you get that centered here, please? Give us that. Thank you.
Even that, thank you. My God.
Now, I want to direct your attention up here, if I may, to the screen. We're now in section B for the record, remember?
Yes.
You were gracious enough to assist Mr. Jackson in explaining what some of the technical letters and numbers mean, is that right?
That is correct, sir.
And you went through a part of this for us here this afternoon and explained what that meant. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to focus you on one particular part of this. About the middle, there's a line that starts with, I think it looks like to me, T as in Tom, 12, E as in Earl. Do you see that? Right there where Sudi's pointing.
Yes, I do, sir.
And I want to work, I would like you, if you would, for a moment, to help me here understanding this line. What is the next entry? There are 4 numbers. Is that the time? No, going horizontal. Down, please. Right there. Yeah, right there. That. Right there. Yes. We're going to go across. Keep going, please. There we go. We're going to go across this horizontally. Let's stay with the 0625. So you can go back. Thank you. That is the time, correct?
0625, sir?
Yes.
That is correct, sir.
Okay. The next.
Oh, sorry. Let me fix the sound. I apologize. It's fucking with my camera. Sorry about that.
Next entry, it looks to me like 2 dBn. I don't know. Maybe could you help us with that?
That is computer generated, sir, and I have no knowledge.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go to the next entry, and that's FEM, which I assume is a short version of female.
It's an abbreviation for female, sir. That is correct.
Afraid to talk, correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. Now let's get to the next part. This shows on Part B of People 6, ML, and then it says something, correct?
That is correct, sir.
What did the computer generate? What does that say? Read it for me, please.
That says male standing by the phone.
It does not say male sitting in a chair in front of door with gun in hand, does it?
No, it does not, sir.
As a matter of fact, you've looked at A, B, C, and D before testifying here today, correct?
Correct, sir.
And in looking through those 4 parts, there is nothing in A, B, C, or D which says that there is a male seated in a chair in front of a door with a gun. Is there?
No, there is not stating that there's a man sitting in front of the door with a gun, sir. That is correct.
And also, Mrs. Matthews, as I understand it, there's nothing anywhere in People 6.
Right, sir?
Parts A, B, C, and D.
Yo, welcome back.
Indicates that this male pointed this weapon at Stephanie Jennings. Pointed it directly at her. That's true, isn't it?
It does not state that, sir.
Thank you.
Looking at the jury after every one of these.
I think we need to go to C, if I remember. Please see.
Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. Appreciate it. First regular episode of Tuesday Night Murder Church. Last week was a Tuesday Night Murder Church also, but the first regular, this is a thing now, Tuesday Night Murder Church.
That Mr. Jackson asked a question about that he probably wished he hadn't, which was the slow down part. Is that in C? Or am I just wrong on that? Do you see it there? Do you see the slow down there on the top?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay. And as I understand it, your interpretation of that was if you're speeding, slow down, something to that effect, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So there's nothing indicated in C. This is a very serious situation. ASAP. Get
Yo, Gabby, welcome in here.
Let me look at the box again,
Sure,
sir.
please do. Please do.
There's nothing in box C, sir, that states that this is a serious crime to get there.
Thank you. Let's take a look at...
Right, City Kitty.
Let's continue and stay with C for a moment. And I want you to take a look further down at the entry that says T12E 0630 hours. Okay? Yes, thank you.
Grabby hands.
Now, let's start with that, if we may, for a moment. Can you help us, Mrs. Matthews? What does T12E mean?
That's Terminal 12 where the operator was sitting at, sir.
Oh, okay, okay. That's the operator who received the call, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And it came in, according to the next piece of information, at 0630 hours or 6:30 a.m., right?
That's just the time generated from the computer. That's additional information she's typing in from that call at that time.
Okay. NYPD, in using these incident logs, work on military time, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So 0630 hours is 6:30 a.m.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Matthews. Let's go down a little bit further. We've already defined the next term, but let's go to where it says ML. Horizontally back. Yes, thank you, right there. Right there. Can you read that, please?
Male went to room 3301 on the 33rd floor, operator 1430-12.
Let's stay with just that central part. ML meaning
Gail, thank you so
male,
much.
correct?
That is correct, sir.
Went to room 3301, correct?
Correct, sir.
How would the operator known that? The operator would have known it was room 3301 because the voice on the other end, presumably Mrs. Jennings, would have told her that, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So therefore, this information indicates that the male left the room and went to a specific room, room 3301, correct?
Correct, sir.
And the call from Ms. Jennings was coming from what other room? Do you remember part A?
It was coming from another room in Part A. I'm not sure what that room was, sir.
You may.
Okay. No, you keep it up there. I have it. Go ahead. And if we look at part A, oh, I got to cut off when I need to pull one. Hang on.
Here.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
God, he's literally done nothing. I mean,
Showing you part A.
we'll have her
Go ahead, you can
some
take it.
more here.
I'll take it back afterwards. Okay. Your Honor, may I just ask a question from you?
Yes.
Thank you. Would you take a look at Part A and tell us from which room at the Carlisle Hotel that morning did this call originate from?
On that morning from the Carlisle Hotel, the call originated from room 3307 on the 33rd floor.
That's a different room than 3301.
That is correct, sir.
And the information that winds up in this business record indicating that this male left 3307 and went to 3301 came from the call, correct?
That is correct, sir.
That wasn't somebody just guessing, was it?
No, sir.
Sustained. Stricken, jury's admonished.
Your Honor, may I have just a moment, please, with my
You may.
colleagues? Just one other quick question. Well, the foible of every lawyer when they say just one more quick question, no such thing. Were you requested, I know you were requested to come out here from New York and testify as a custodian of record. Were you ever asked to look to see if there were any police reports generated as a result of this incident?
What type of police reports are you talking about, sir?
Well, I've got to plead ignorance here. I don't know how New York, I should have Mr. Cutler help me, but any kind of police report,
He's
such
like,
as
I would
a
glad,
crime
man.
report or an incident report or an arrest report or anything of that nature, follow-up, supplemental, anything of that nature.
The only thing I can testify, sir, is to the Sprint report, which you guys requested from LA.
This here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, thank you very much, ma'am, and again, welcome to Los Angeles. I hope you have a safe journey home.
Thank you, sir.
Redirect, thank you.
I have nothing more. Thank
May
you.
this witness be excused.
No objection.
Hearing no objection. Thank you for being here. You may step down.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Got a little bit of information there, and then a lot of pointless questions by our least favorite attorney ever. Who we got next? Who we got? Probably, let me guess, an ex-girlfriend that was held. Oh my God, Melissa Grossverner, an ex-girlfriend of Spector who claims he held her hostage with a gun, takes the stand. My God. How many more are we gonna even, like, what? Melissa Grossverner, an ex-girlfriend of Spector who claims he held her hostage with a gun. More. What the fuck? All right, this trial's crazy. This trial's absolute madness. Thanks everyone tonight for coming through. Holy shit, a Tuesday night murder church, the first regular Tuesday night murder church, not messing around.
Hey, motherfucker.
And we had Judge Diehard throwing down in his courtroom.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Thank you guys so much. And we're going to go into Sunday with another girlfriend and more violence with a firearm. Like, what the hell is going on here? Out of control. Out of control. Let me see real quick. Let me show a little bit of love right here at the end. Who just come through here? None other than Gail. Gail coming through here. Gift out a membership. Thank you so much, Gail. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Giving me the classic Ted DiBiase music here real quick. I'll give you a little bit more. A little Biggie with it, baby. Thank you so much, Gail. Appreciate that. And that welcome to the party, pal, is from Judge Diehard. Absolutely. Hell yeah. Everybody hanging and banging. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Yeah, the next time you will see me will be Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time with Dan. Me and Dan's going to do something. I'm not sure what. We'll see what's happening. And, yeah, I guess in the morning, I guess Bob and Jay will probably be doing some more Karen Reed. So I'll probably see you peeps in the chat. And then, of course, Thrill Friday will be absolutely amazing, per the usual. Now, my eyes been itching here. That's why my eyes so red over here. But yeah, and this emoji, I'm going to remake this emoji right here. That emoji, I'm in love with it. I know it's for Pride Month. They might take that away after Pride Month here, but I'm going to remake that because that's dope. But, yeah, Feral Friday, I guess, got to figure out what we're doing. We might watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in a minute, so. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you guys. You guys rule. You guys are the best. You guys coming through here. Sunday, Tuesday night services. Spread the word. Phil looks like the Crypt Keeper. Do I have him over here? Hold on. If I don't have him over here, because we can always, at all times, hold on, have a live feed of this dude. Son of a bitch. Copy and paste. Hold on. Oh, God. Oh, God. He can slowly take over the entire show. Oh, God. You're not taking over my show, you son of a bitch. You get back in your place. You get back in your place. Not fucking around. All right, guys. Seriously. Love you guys. See you again Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great Wednesday. We'll kick tomorrow's asses. And, yeah, I'll talk to you in the chats. Let's go.
This verse